Hello and welcome to the One-on-One podcast. If you're enjoying the show, consider signing up for the Patreon. There you get ad-free content, early access, exclusive episodes, and monthly supporter hangouts. You can find it at patreon.com/the One-on-One podcast. If you don't like the subscription-based models, there are other ways of supporting the show that are linked in the description. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy this episode.
They said it was forbidden. They said it was dangerous. They were right. Introducing the paranoid American homunculus owner's manual. Dive into the arcane, into the hidden corners of the occult. This isn't just a comic. It's a hidden tome of supernatural power. All original artwork illustrating the groundbreaking research of Juan Ayala, one of the only living homunculologists of our time. Learn how to summon your own homunculus, an enigma wrapped in the fabric of reality itself, their power at your fingertips, their existence, your secret. Explore the mysteries of the Aristotelian, the spiritual, the Paracelsian, the Crowleyan homunculus, ancient knowledge lost to time, now unearthed in this forbidden tale. This comic book holds truths not meant for the light of day, knowledge that was buried, feared, and shunned. Are you ready to uncover the hidden? The Paranoid American Homunculus Owner's Manual, not for the faint of heart. Available now from Paranoid American. Get your copy at tjojp.com or paranoidamerican.com today.
Welcome to the One-on-One podcast with your host, Juan Ayala.
They're also imprinted with symbols. So that's where the strongest brainwashing happens, is through imprinting, which is different than brainwashing. Rather than it going into the subconscious, it's actually embedded into the DNA. And this is how the power elites control the world. The evil power elites, through symbols and movements, whether that's national, political, or religious. You can see all these people that are part of certain camps will be like, my camp is right, your camp is wrong. I'm right, you're evil. Wow, you're just now in the whole divide and conquer strategy, and everybody's duped and being played like a fiddle.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of the One-on-One podcast. I'm your host as always. Make sure to follow the show on social media at the One-on-One podcast, tjojp.com, patreon.com/the One-on-One podcast. Make sure all the social medias, and if you're listening to this on the RSS feed, make sure to leave a 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, wherever you're at, thumbs up, comment, like, share with your friends. Every little bit helps. I appreciate you guys. And today we have a very special guest that I've done numerous episodes with, but I have actually not done an episode on this show. So again, if you sign up for the Patreon, you're going to get a whole bunch of episodes we've done together. And honestly, DoeNut is one of the realest guys I've ever met in this community. And I feel that he really helped me kickstart like my YouTube channel type of thing. He was the first one that really gave me the platform, and I'm super grateful to know DoeNut. So no homo, DoeNut, welcome to the show, bro. What's up, dude?
Yo, what up, Juan? I'm grateful for you coming on my show.
No, I'm grateful for you, bro.
I ain't nothing with the homunculus, homuncologist.
That was the first episode I did on. That was the first time I ever did homunculus, bro, on your show.
Yeah. We did the homunculus rising. We knew that the homunculus was about to rise.
Exactly, bro.
And we connected. We put out the homunculus documentary, 2-hour-long documentary, and it just took off. Even Willy Wonka got a homunculus
Bro,
now.
even Willy Wonka has the homunk on deck, bro.
Yeah, the Oompa
Yikes.
Loompa. I didn't know the Oompa Loompa. I should have known. But I'm learning. I'm learning so much. When I came into the game of questioning reality, in a sense, I just knew a little bit on surface level, celebrities, symbols, things in the 3D realm. But after connecting with one-on-one, I've understood that there's more than just the 3D realm of symbols, that it goes into the subconscious, like the internal world. Whoa, I'm blown away.
DoeNut, where can people find you, bro? Plug your stuff. You got a great channel. And also, I want to say, dude, real quick, for those that, a lot of people brag about getting kicked off platforms. A lot of people brag about getting strikes on YouTube. You're only hurting yourself when you do that. And if you're trying to grow your show, if you're trying to grow your brand, you're only hurting yourself by doing that. And I've actually learned a lot of like thumbnails and all that stuff from subscribing to your Patreon, DoeNut, where you give people classes. You have the wicked smart classes, and you show people the inside secrets, because you have a lot of experience with this, and I've learned a ton. For those that want to sign up, tell them where they can find you, DoeNut.
You can find me at DOE-NUT.com. That's DoeNut, and I'll spell it differently. And yeah, I've been in the YouTube game before YouTube existed, making videos and uploading them. So it's sort of something I've done my entire life. And it's easy for me to rise in power through social media because I know all the secrets of thumbnails, titling, and whatnot. But that also puts you on the radar. And I got put on the radar, and I got a lot of my channels removed, but whatever. I'm connected, and you're connected to the biggest social media platform in existence, and that is God.
Amen, bro.
And yeah, I go into topics on Illuminati news, secret societies, which is called synarchy, that is the world being ruled by secret societies. And you could go all the way back into history to the Knights Templars. This is something that has been going on forever, nothing new under the sun. And I got a screen share slide that if I could see it, I could remember, because I forget what I'm going to talk about.
Is it this one or is it this one?
It's this one. This one's really interesting. So if you're listening and you're not seeing this, there's something with seeing something while you're talking. This is how movie magic works, the subconscious mind. This is how propaganda works. This is very effective, is when I'm talking about the symbols, showing the symbols as well. But we're showing here, this is the federal edifice that came out in 1788 in America. And it was about the Constitution. And you can see the two pillars collapsing. And that reminds me of the two pillars collapsing in the 2000s.
Yeah, and I've never seen this before, DoeNut. Where exactly is that from? The Sentinel?
Yes, this was a magazine in Massachusetts, the Centennial, and this came out in 1788, right after United States 1776.
Interesting.
The formation of the body was also in 1776.
And looks like there's 11 stars too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the 12 and 13th are the ones that went kaput,
Yeah, and after we dug into the worms, the worms, that going back to these ancient religions thousands and thousands of years ago, they showed the same symbolism. It's like the same symbols keep appearing. And I was just looking at this, the 13. You got the 13 like aeons or something like that. I don't know. We were showing this documentary we were about to put out. It's amazing. But it's also it has a lot of Saturn in it. Right here at the top, it says Saturnia. And it's just symbology. And then on September 1, which is like two pillars, in 1991, George Bush, this is George Bush's daddy, did a 9/11 speech. And this was his famous speech where he said the New World Order. That's always sampled in podcasts.
Yeah, it's funny how he said that too. And that's one of the more bizarre speeches that there is, right? And that's not the one with the alien threat, is it?
No. So there's a bunch of alien topics. All the presidents bring up the aliens because this is an occult mission going on for the alien agenda. You even got Reagan and Gorbachev talking about pausing the Cold War. Mm-hmm. Hillary Clinton saying that if she gets elected, she's going to show the aliens with her connections.
Trump was saying that too. Trump was talking about like the declass. Supposedly when he left, he had left something, so they needed to declassify some paperwork, you know, X amount of days before, after he had left or something like that. And also, if I'm not mistaken, Bush Sr. was.
Yes. So going back to how secret societies control the world, they're both members. And we'll be celebrating Yale, I should say, where Yale, which has been around longer than the United States in America, will be celebrating its 322 year. It is known for the 322. And we see this 322 symbolism all over the place. Mm-hmm. Biden, he got at exactly 322. When the clock struck 322, Hillary Clinton got sick on 322.
So when she faints, right? That one video?
No. She got sick on 322, just like she did faint, yeah, but that she fainted, I believe, on 9/11. So she collapsed, I believe, on 9/11. So there's these rituals and pattern recognition that I've just been watching and documenting, and it keeps on happening. But going back to this 322 thing, we see it everywhere in Hollywood, in Batman. Batman's grandfather founded in episode 33.
Really?
Even Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, BTC, in like gematria or numerology or something, equals 322 backwards. And we're in 322 backwards in 2023. So the numbers are there. And if you watch, I just watched Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
And real quick, DoeNut, so we can plug this because how I mentioned at the beginning, where don't pride yourself in getting kicked off of platforms. Well, me and Paranoid American, we came up with this Occult Decode website at occultdecode.com. And on here, you can find banned word lists, right? And you can find alternatives for words that are flagged in the YouTube algorithm. And you can type it in here and you can find an alternative for that word. So again, this is a tool that we can use. And also, right, BTC in reduction is 322. So this is also a gematria calculator that you can tap into. So that's occultdecode.com, and all of our links are down below. We got Paranoid American, Truth Mafia, Juan, and DoeNut Factory too is on there. Oof, let's go. So yeah, make sure to check that out, because again, this is a really cool tool. Now I'm not going to type in any words because I don't want the video to get flagged. You know, they can scan the screen, but if you put any word that you want, it'll give you alternative words for that. So again, just something really cool that you can use and tap into.
That was so dope. That's so dope. I can't wait to start using that. But yeah, so BTC, B is 2, T is 20, C is 3. So it's the 322. Yeah, so it's like its own topic on itself. But there's this other slide right here that goes into the dog days, the helical rising, Sirius, the dog star. There's astrology is important to the elites. Geomancy is important to the elites. Etymology, where like these words are coming from. symbols, even like sigils, which are symbols, like Coca-Cola. I was listening to that Grant Morrison Chaos Magic talking about how they break down their own symbols, and Coca-Cola, that's how they control the world. Well, absolutely. The Coca-Cola logo is got Coke going up like a nostril, like in it when you like turn it sideways. Me and my friends, when we were kids, we always laugh at it. And as a kid, always pointing out the weird symbols, especially the sexual symbols. So like, yeah, if you see the L at the very end, so up, like that's like this Coke going into the nose. So that's what we said as a kid. I'm not sure if it's true, but Coca-Cola did put Coke in there. This was subscribed, I believe, a medication, Coca-Cola, for women who were angry or something like that. Or that could have been Dr. Pepper. But the colors here of Coca-Cola are red and white. These are Templar colors. So you can see this with KFC. KFC, if you look at his tombstone, he was a 33rd degree Mason. So he was part of secret societies. And that's the same color scheme as the Templars. So going back to the Templars. But this symbol right here is the Egyptian hieroglyph of Sirius. In the Egyptian hieroglyph of Sirius, it's the dome, which would be the capital, the 5-pointed star, which is our flag, and the phallic, the Washington Monument. Our entire country is based off of this symbol, this Egyptian hieroglyph. So just showing this, these are just a couple slides of how symbols play a huge role in this film that we're sort of living out, which is sort of a caterpillar, I guess, that we're living through a caterpillar time loop.
Yeah, and it's right, the Truman Show, where, and I'm paraphrasing, but he goes, people will accept the reality in which they're presented. And you and I have done some in the last in the last few weeks, we've gone viral a couple times, and it's mostly based on the symbolism. In our latest video that we did, it's hit collectively over 1 million views. So think about that. Think about that for 1 second. Over 1 million people have heard your voice and have seen our faces in that video. And also Yiska, shout out to Yiska as well. She's in that video too. So think about that, bro. Over 1 million people have seen. And then obviously I'm reading the comments. There's a lot of ignorant comments, but the ones that really stand out to me are the people who are ignorant to the idea that there is something far more than what they're being presented. Right? You have a lot of los alumbrados, right? The illuminists or whatever they are. They're not real. This is just a whole bunch of hogwash. I'm like, those are the people who are just going about every single day. And what you're saying, DoeNut, symbols are the language of the soul. And symbolism, pictorial magic, is one of the more powerful methods of magic that there is. Because people can understand symbols better than they can words. That's why children start to interpret symbols, pictures, before they even start to read words. So these things are playing in our subconscious, they stay there. Okay. And that's what people need to understand, that it's not, I've said it before, and somebody was like, oh, why do you keep saying that? I go, it doesn't matter if you don't believe it, because they do. And it's real to them. And by them, I mean these elites. If it's like Noam Chomsky or whatever his name was, where he's always said there's no cabal at the center of it all. And then it turns out he was on Mr. Eggman's, that's from the website, Mr. Eggman's list, right? It turned out he was boys with him. So of course you're going to push the ideology like, no, there's not a cabal at the center of this that's ruling the world, that has all the power, that can manipulate things and change definitions real time. No, of course not. You're a conspiracy theorist, bro. How dare you? Right? That's a lot of the ones. Oh, you take your medication. You're having an episode.
Did the AI come up with the term Eggman?
No, that was a word that we came up with, because I told Paranoid American I wanted to use it today, and I'm like, hey, if we bring up who, what can we say? He's like, well, I was like, can we talk about Eggman, right? Eggman's Island. He's like, Dr. Eggman. I was like, all right, cool. Let's use Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, the Eggman goes into some occult stuff too.
Yeah.
So like eggs, the Beatles, this guy that was with them, Paul McCartney says, I am the Eggman. But that was...
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah. Paul McCartney says, I am the Eggman. It's paying homage to this guy who liked to break eggs all over women's bodies, doing heinous acts. And then he says, no, I like it when they do it to me. So this egg ritual goes into like the 6-9, suck seed, suck eggs, what Crowley said. So eggs are a big, important ritual going down this year. This year started off with an egg shortage, and the egg of the baby of Rihanna on the leaving 322 days left in the year, February 12th, the Super Bowl, showcasing that baby. She is from Barbados. This goes down to all secret society stuff. It's crazy. She's an ambassador to Barbados, Rihanna.
Talk about this guy?
Eric Burdon. He was the Eggman. It goes even deeper than what we're told. We only know from decoding and reading books of like trying to figure out what it exactly is. But Salvador Dali has the painting of the egg, and the hand is on America. He was at the surrealist Rothschild party that Eyes Wide Shut sorta is based off of, which is about this like naughty gathering. So I mean, it goes so deep.
I'm reading the story here of how he came up with that. Apparently, it's pretty graphic, right, if you will. I mean, how he got into it. But DoeNut, here's the thing that people need to realize, that we're dealing with people who are alchemists to a certain extent. And the reason I say that is because the reason that this symbolism is important to the elites is because it represents something much deeper than what's being portrayed, right? The exoteric is what all those people commenting mean things are. They're taking in the exoteric. Oh, this isn't true. You're just full of BS, et cetera, because they're not open to the possibility that there's an occultist mundi, if you will, a hidden world that's overlaid over ours. And these elites believe that they can tap into that somehow, and they can manipulate reality and bend it to their will by using these symbols, by using this numerology, by using gematria, by using alchemy, which is the manipulation of matter, but also the manipulation of symbols. And when you put together a certain kind of symbols together, you get a reaction. We see this time and time again. I mean, look at the idea of Baphomet. If you put that up, people automatically, boom, Satan, satanic. That combination of symbols put together pulls forth such a reaction from people that it drives them insane. If it was something completely different, it wouldn't have that same, but it's already in the subconscious, so far down in there that as soon as people see it, boom, they already think the worst, right? Because they've been programmed to do that. So that's how that works.
They're also imprinted with symbols. So that's where the strongest brainwashing happens, is through imprinting, which is different than brainwashing. Rather than it going into the subconscious, it's actually embedded into the DNA. Oof. And Paranoid American was showing how they did studies on worms, as we're doing the worm documentary, but they would cut up the worms, and the worms would grow new worms, but they would have the same consciousness, in a sense, the same memory as the other worms. Then they started feeding the worms to the worms, and they would develop their consciousness, sort of like a zombie cannibalism, sort of. So even our ancestors, that imprinting has been genetically in us, in a sense. And this is how the power elites control the world. The evil power elites, through disguise. They disguise themselves through symbols and movements, whether that's national, political, or religious. You can see all these people that are part of certain camps will be like, my camp is right, your camp is wrong. I'm right, you're evil. wow, you're just now in the whole divide and conquer strategy, and everybody's duped and being played like a fiddle by whoever's in control. That could be who knows? I don't know.
And for those saying that, I'm not involved in the occult or anything like that. Well, the alphabet that you use today, your keyboard, is full of symbols that were employed by the elites before you, right? Now, obviously, okay, I understand it's a method for communication, but if you look at the origin of the English language, the original alphabet, everything, I mean, it goes back down. It always traces back to some occult principle, something, right? Something, it always goes back down. Whenever I've looked at something, DoeNut, and it's not because I'm looking for a conspiracy or a cult and anything, but it's like it's always related to that in some way. Even if it's somebody who was at the center of it had some occultic, esoteric tendencies, if you will, right? So it always goes back to this idea, and a lot of people use like your Bluetooth logo. That's a rune, you know what I mean? And I use Bluetooth every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even the Wi-Fi logo, it's the Illuminati capstone and pyramid just upside down. Confirmed.
Hold on, let me hit the button. Hold on, bro.
The PlayStation controller.
Confirmed.
There you go.
The PlayStation controller, the Squid Games, the USB port. If you look at the USB port right here in the middle, it's the same Squid Games logo on the PlayStation. That's also in the Royal Arch and also in Pisidian, Neptune, trident symbols. JFK was taken out on this trident. The two pillars that we were talking about in the beginning were built out of a trident as well. These symbols and secret societies go way, way back to the Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. This is the Black Hand. The Black Hand, the five, right? All these people get ritualized in connections of five, the five people going down the submarine.
And 5 eyes in the Shamir.
Yeah, you pointed out there's the 5 eyes in the Shamir, that just blew my mind. But this is the Black Hand who took out Franz Ferdinand. And this is what launched off World War I. So if people say there's no such thing as a secret society, well, that's what's in control of world events. World War I, World War II, all have this occult connection to it. And it goes into finance, especially this year. And an event that is going to happen, which I believe is called the Omega event, that we're titling it here in our community.
Is that what's going to happen at? When exactly is that? Do they say that's going to happen?
I think it is happening. And so, for example, back when there was only three stations on a television, everyone had a television in their room. So there only needed to be one event to take place. When the newspapers were first released, Jack the Ripper slaying the 5 women in a ritualized Freemasonic ritual. That's how he did it. That's all out there in public. That you just needed one page on a newspaper. But now everyone has televisions connected to their body, their cell phones. Everywhere they go, they have the black mirror, the phone. So one crazy event that happens, like the Titanic sinking, it's over with now. No one cares anymore. You know what I mean? But that was big news. Or the airplane woman, that was big news. But no one cares anymore in a couple of days because of the attention span. In the future, if you want to rule the world, just meditate and have a long attention span and be able to tune in. And you can do that easily by reading. If you read, you'll learn how to do that, or meditating. But the Omega event, I think, is happening now with these bank collapsings. I think it's connected to water, and water is also connected to currency. And Ripple, XRP, is the only currency I've ever talked about. And I even talked about it with the daddy of maritime law, with Jordan Maxwell. And I was showing him XRP is called Ripple, and it's a bridge currency. The bridge goes over the water. And Rosa Rios is on our money. This chick right here, Rios means river. Everything is connected to liquid assets, liquidating. If your company is messed up, it becomes insolvent or solvent, and water's a solvent. So there's all these water terms that go into banking, maritime law, but I think it's also connected to the internet as well. So some sort of cyber event as you're surfing the internet. We're streaming right now, the World Wide Web. So I don't know exactly what it is. I've been just tying it into bridges today. There was the bridge collapse, and
as a kid, you were always sung that London Bridge is falling down song, right? Since, I mean, all little kids have heard that. How old is that song, bro? Let's find out how old that song is. London Bridge is...
Yeah, and the meaning behind London bridges falling down, ashes, they all fall down. I believe it goes
17th century, dude.
Yeah. Well, I'm from the 19th century, and the 17th century wasn't that long. I mean, America was founded. It was only like almost 300 years ago or something. So, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. And I believe that song's about, like, people dying.
My Fair Lady. So let's see. Origins. Similar rhymes can be found across Europe, predating the records in England. These include some names I can't say in German. One of the earliest references, they got 1823. You have another one, 16. Let's see here what the meaning. The meaning of the rhyme is not certain. It may simply relate to the many difficulties experienced in the bridging of the river Thames, but a number of alternative explanations have been put forth. So the Viking attack explanation, the origin rhymes relates to the supposed destruction of the London Bridge by Olaf II, and the 19th century translation of the Norse saga, the Heimskringla, published in 1844. So the London Bridge is broken down, gold is won and bright renown, shields resounding, war horns sounding, hild is shouting in the din, arrows singing, mailcoats ringing, Odin makes our Olaf win. So that's one. And then there is a child sacrifice immurement explanation. So the hypothesis that the song refers to burying, perhaps alive, of Ildren in the foundations of the bridge. What? What? This is based around the idea that a bridge would collapse unless the body of a human sacrifice was buried in its foundations, and the watchman is actually a human sacrifice who will then watch over the bridge. And that's real. Okay, this idea of having a soul care for a creation, right? The cornerstone, right? This idea of the last stone. Well, usually it was the last stone was somebody, right? Somebody needed to put it in place and therefore stay in that place. I mean, that goes back thousands of years. And so the London Bridge is talking about that. We're talking about age and damage explanation. So the Thames, Fair Lady identity, they're talking about the Virgin Mary, Matilda of Scotland, Eleanor of Provence. So, dude, this is crazy.
It is crazy, and they're catchy songs. So these catchy songs are called earworms. We've been diving deep on the worms. The worm symbolism is, I mean, fantastic. The larva, I mean, this is crazy. But it's called an earworm. And they have the worm dance, which is connected to the dolphin, and even the funky worm by Ohio Players. Like all Dr. Dre's music is based off of that band pretty much. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Whoa,
I think that,
dude.
Yeah. So this right here, speaking of music and these catchy tunes, this is all being developed by controllers at the Tavistock Institute, in a sense. People writing the songs aren't who is singing the songs. These are all corporations right here. And this Saturnalia event that took place, which was Kim Kardashian's Saturnalia event, as you see in the beginning, we showed the Saturnia, 11th pillar collapsing. Saturnalia is now Christmas, but going back in time, where they would do orgies and all this, and the slaves would become the kings, and the kings would become the slaves. And this is in a lot of movies. It's in the Squid Games. But this party is connected to rituals. Everyone at this party has been going through rituals. So Kanye, we don't even need to say anything here with Kanye. He's going through some rituals. Travis Scott, we don't really need to say anything about Travis Scott. He's going through rituals. And you got the Migos at the end. And his nephew was sacrificed, part of his band, on So When, I believe, on like the exact date. So, I mean, it's just super sketchy. It's just some, these bands are super sketchy. And the Omega event will happen. I think it's happening now. And it goes into 2024. And this slide is perfect because The Economist magazine shows us what's going to happen. It's crazy because they get so many things right on their covers.
Really?
That's ridiculous. Yeah, so this came out in 2017, and this would be 2023, and it's the France flag, and France is going through those riots right now, and this would be 2024. So I believe this event will be taking place now to 2024. And I don't really know what that is. It's just hypothetical guesses, but
And
I think it has something.
is it a coincidence, Donut, that Travis Scott sounds like Tavistock? Is that a coincidence? What are his connections? Have you ever done a deep dive on him?
Yes, I did. So Travis Scott, his birthday, April 30th, is the same day the Satanic Church, Anton LaVey's church in San Francisco, was created on April 30th.
Yikes.
He's connected to the Kardashians. This is straight connected to controlling and destroying the minds of the world. Everything comes out of California, Tavistock, Big Sur type California, and goes into the rest of the world. So he's there with the Kardashians. This event happened on the Kardashian Jenner, the queen, the top witch, because she's the oldest, the mom, Kris Jenner's birthday. So this is going on her birthday. These tragic events that happen to all these big celebrities that have some sort of military connection, if that's Ariana Grande's mom, or who's connected to the military with telephone communication systems, or the Doors, Jim Morrison's dad, being part of the Gulf of Tonkin, I believe, incident.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I mean, these are high level. This is crazy. There's always some weird connection to CIA, Alphabet Boys, which was all developed when you go back.
Yeah,
it goes back to the Illuminati. The schooling system was designed by the Illuminati. And that there's factual evidence of this. This isn't like just out there. Wicked smart people wrote books on this, whether that was Gatto or Carol Quigley, who exposed pretty much how the Illuminati divides and conquers everybody in tragedy and hope. And he was Bill Clinton's mentor, or if that was Billington, who worked for Congress Library. He was the Congress librarian who wrote Fire in the Minds of Men, which goes into and how revolution is their religion. It's a spirit of revolution is their religion. What was I talking about?
So you're talking about the connections to the alphabet, usually when it comes to the tragic events that surround these people, which, right, Kanye West had his tragic event. The Kardashians had their tragic event of a certain family member, what happens to them. And they end up, I don't know if So, Dona, here's the thing about me when it comes to all this, because I'm a skeptic, bro, right? I'm a skeptic just like anybody else. I just enjoy the research. I enjoy researching this. I've always had a thing for history. And I don't know if if these people are intentionally tapping into this and they have knowledge of what's really happening at the core of it, or if they're just going along and there's something guiding them unconsciously. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because obviously then we get into the more metaphysical, spiritual aspect that, let's say that there are dark forces that are using these people as puppets, you know?
Yeah, they're puppets, but they're not in control. They're just the image. They're nothing. They have to go through rituals so they can stay in power. But Beyonce, for example, being accused of extreme witchcraft by her drummer, she was like cats and stuff. According to her drummer, where is that?
I've heard about that, but like, how many times is that? Well, see, that's weird right there. That's weird. But then how many times is that just like a disgruntled employee, or you know what I'm saying? Like somebody just talking smack. Because I've heard that.
Break it down. I'm gonna break it down.
I've also heard that about what's the guy from Logan Paul, whatever his name was, Paul
Kid
Logan.
Kid Rock, all these puppets. Like, I'll break it down right now. Like, I'll show you what I'm looking at. It's connected to politics. You got these celebrities that are corporations, they're artists or whatever, but they get big on a high level because they're a corporation and their death brings more money. These WikiLeaks documents of the spirit cooking with the Podesta camp, this is like the whole Clinton camp or whatever. Beyonce is straight connected with them, and Jay-Z promoting her events. Or you have Kid Rock, who does Ba with the Ba, which I believe is like some sort of like satanic chant or something like that, that they're all connected to some sort of satanic element, whether that's Travis Scott being born on April 30th, just like the Church of Satan, and their connections to political powers that be. So the artist has more influence than a politician, and Donald Trump knew this. He is like a master at like head games, and he wrote this in his book, The Art of the Comeback, how he utilized Michael Jackson. He was friends with him. He utilized him so he can get power over bankers, because when a banker saw Michael Jackson, they would get all nervous. They'd be like, oh my God, that's Michael Jackson. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? So the artist is a mystic and has influence, and that's what it's all about. So the top artist with influence, they're influencing the culture, but they're influencing them in the wrong way. Even the counterculture, which I thought that was against the system. The counterculture is set up by the system. So the culture, you think you're doing something good, but it's exactly what the system wants you to do. I don't know if I said anything to break it down to the skeptics. I think if you're a skeptic,
you make, because that's what I tell people all the time. I go, the same people that are. So right now there's a movie that came out recently, right? I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about. That everybody's telling you go to the theater, go watch it, right? It's a real big thing. And my brother-in-law, he knows what I talk about on the podcast. He's like, hey, you have any conspiracies around that new movie? I was like, well, I mean, I've heard this, and this. He goes, but do you think there's something up about it? I'm like, listen, bro, if the elites truly didn't want this thing to come out, they would have snuffed it out.
Oh, that movie. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Long before it even made it to anywhere. And if you look at the funding, we're getting some echo, DoeNut.
No, that was me doing this.
I can hear myself.
Really?
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, there it went away there. That's weird, dude. So this, I told him, I go, dude, they would have snuffed it out way before it even made it to the theaters. And if you look at the funding behind that movie and all that stuff, I mean, it's the same people orchestrating this to get you in some sort of I don't want to say energetic or energy trap, but to mine, right? I call them the sorcerers of the subconscious, right? These cinemagicians. And what they do is they polarize the population, dude. They'll take people, and some people will politically look at a certain party, and because it fits their religious views, they'll go with that party automatically. You know what I mean? We see this time and time again where the liberals are, you know, a little bit looser and the conservatives are God-fearing people, right? I mean, we see this, and it's part of, again, I'm not saying don't use religion. I think religion is an important thing to have, but you're playing into the system that they're creating. These are the same people who didn't want that movie to come out are the same people who made the movie. So they're doing this thing to rile people up. And I mean, if you look at the time, next year is what? We know 2024, there's something significant is going to happen. So they're throwing all these things out now in order to rile people up. And it's that what's that one thing called? Is it the Hegelian dialectic, where it's like problem, solution, reaction, etc.? Is it that? Let me make sure I get this.
It's problem, reaction, solution. This goes into what Carol Quigley was talking about, how the elites control the world in a sense, where there's a problem and then there's a reaction. And the people who created the problem deliver the solution. And I'm kind of meditating and thinking, and I'm like, you don't get on these big channels like the BBC, which is 322 as well.
Hold on, Don. Yeah. I think I got this from the Hegelian dialectic. Is that? So agenda, thesis, antithesis, synthesis, removal of... Oh, okay. So yeah. So I think I did I get it right?
Yeah, but I heard that. I mean, that wasn't even Hegel's. That's what I've heard.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, so it's what it is problem, reaction, solution. So the problem, you react to the problem. Oh, here's the solution. Like John McAfee, this is how he got super rich, was from the Hegelian dialect of he created the problem. He created the virus. And I shouldn't even say that word, but the computer, like malware, he created that. And then he gave the solution of the Norton McAfee malware. And then and that was the solution, and then made that money. So this is what's going on a bigger stage. And you don't get on these big platforms like the BBC, these big news stations promoted by Hollywood in the movie theaters. You don't get on this unless there is a mission. And the mission of the body takes place over every 111 years. So whatever's happening right now was planned 100 years ago, a centennial ago. And I was thinking about Andrew Tate, right? How he promotes war, battle, fighting, be a man, don't be a weakling or whatever, stuff that I feel like you're supposed to naturally be like, but they're promoting that. Like, what if that was being promoted because they know a war is about to happen and they're going to need people to sign up for that? Mm-hmm. I mean, I just like to think about all different things. That's what popped up in my mind. So we never know what's going on the world stage, but through the symbols, the hand gestures, the agendas, the companies follow the paper route, we could kind of figure it out. And I want to bring up, because I know we're 45 minutes in, and I wanted to bring up, I got a bunch of stuff. I'm always looking into stuff. I could just bring up stuff all day, whether that's mimetic warfare, the debauchery, but I want to bring up this to your audience, which is the slide of the moon right there.
Oh, no, my bad, bro. Writing the timestamp down.
Yeah, no. So the slide of the moon right here, there's a bunny on the moon, and we're in the year of the bunny, the year of the rabbit. And this is connected to aliens. So Bugs Bunny was the first abductee by an alien. And I actually read that in a Robert Anton Wilson book.
Really?
very, very brief, or an interview. It was so brief. It was so small. But that's what I've trained my ears and eyes to look at, is what's being said, but what's not being said. What's not being said, sort of. So that's how I went down this big rabbit hole, right?
No pun intended.
No pun intended. So during the year of the rabbit, we're hearing about all this UFO stuff. The UFO file will be a big election year thing for 2024. We got those balloons and all this. And I'm looking out for Lunasa, which is Mid-Autumn Festival, which is also called the Mooncake Festival, for more alien disclosures. I predicted that this would be the year of the UFO disclosures. And I mean, that's like the top story right now. So wanted to bring that up to your audience.
Go ahead.
Yeah, everything with the moon and bunnies. Here's the Mayan moon goddess.
And that previous slide, DoeNut, you had that name. How do you know how to say that?
Lunasa. So that's the like occult wheel of time, like the Wiccans use. It's like the older calendar wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, it has NASA in there too, right?
That is funny, right?
Because I've heard NASA's like deception related to the serpent, Nagas, right? NASA. And right, being here in Florida, they're along the 28th parallel, which is the degree of the sun in Templarism, right? In the sunshine state, it's the degree of the sun. You have Disney World, the most magical place on earth, on the 28th parallel as well. So it's all related, dude, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is all related. And also you got Magic Mountain and Disneyland and Anaheim on the other side as well, which there's some stuff. Magic Mountain, learning about how Aleister Crowley and the Shugendo tribe climbed the mountain. And then there's Magic Mountain, where I've actually had a weird coincidence experience during my awakening in 2011, 2012. Everybody goes through this weird awakening process. And I don't know if you remember 2011 or 2012, but that's when
I graduated 2012, bro.
Okay, so this is when YouTube started kicking off. You had Jones on YouTube posting all the time, and it was actually like pretty wild. I was watching it and I was like freaked out. I watched Jones in 2007 or 2006. He made a movie called Endgame, and I got paranoid. I was smoking trees though, and that probably added on to the paranoia. But I learned about, he brought up in that movie astrology, secret societies, Freemasons, and bank collapse and war. And most recently, I made a video about all those topics, and he posted it on his YouTube, or his, not his YouTube, but his station. But he said that wasn't what it was. It's just, that's the plans. And I'm like, bro, I learned that kind of from you though. Like, what the heck? So when I was in California, this was years later, because I was like 19, then everything came true. The economy collapsed. My parents went broke. I was broke for like ever. Like, I didn't know when I was going to eat, sleeping on the floor, trying to kick off the donut thing. I've been trying to do this donut thing for a while. And
you're a rapper too, right, DoeNut?
I could rap. Clones, wiretap your phones, walk around the flat dome with my gat chrome, chilling with my cat at home. She feel me, but really she silly with the silicone. Really,
damn,
until it really melodrome, about to win the dome. I'm going to do a rap album, but that's going to come out later.
I'm going to talk to you about that after. Remind me.
I'll go hard, bro. I'll do it.
Do it.
But so I'm making this so long. It could have been so simplified. I was in California in 2011, 12. Guy from Fast and the Furious, who was in the movie. That guy, the actor who died in the car crash.
Yeah, Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
He was in what movie?
He was in this movie called Skulls, which was about skulls. And I'm living in California. I'm super paranoid still, like freaking out. Fukushima's happening. I'm listening to like the Jones, but I got introduced to new people too, which really dived my research deeper, like Tessarians and whatnot like that. I actually heard about Tessarian because I was watching a Professor Griff video, and it's when people say something, but they don't keep talking about it. He said the Great Tessarian, and I was like, what the heck is that? And it took me forever. I went on a deep dive trying to find how to even spell that. And then that brought me down a deep dive as well. And so I'm living out there in California, and the dude dies right in front of Magic Mountain. And I live in where Magic Mountain was, like in that little sub community, which I hated. It was super evil, I felt like, because it was like a cookie cutter Edward Scissorhand town, which is actually what Edward Scissorhand was based about, because he went to SoCal. And that's where the Matrix movie and the Terminator came out of as well, by the original creator. But he died there, and then I went to the bar because this was when I was trying to get sober, and I was at the bar, and there was a party going on, and I knew a couple people because it's a small town, and I was going into buildings and promoting my video services, telling everyone go get on YouTube and Facebook, and everyone said no, but I closed a couple of deals and I did some videos, so I knew a lot of people. And I was talking to this chick, and she's like, these are all Freemasons here. They're celebrating. And I'm like, my paranoia kicked in, like, Freemasons, and she's like, yeah, it's like stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. I'm like, what are they celebrating? And she's like, well, there's this business here that just made millions of dollars selling the footage of the car crash to some news agency. And I was like, that's freaking weird. And then I left, and I didn't talk about it for like 10 years.
You're talking about Walker, right?
Yeah. So like that's a little weird. Yeah, weird things like that happen on my journey.
That's such a weird, wicked thing to sell, right? And you and I have talked about the creation of talismans, and the more traumatic, the more powerful something is. And if you really think about the concept of selling something like that and what you're profiting off of, right? You're profiting off of somebody's unaliving, and you're celebrating. That's dark, bro. You know what I mean? I don't think I could drive myself to. I asked my friend the other day, how much is your soul worth? How much is your soul worth, DoeNut? How far are you willing to go?
I like what that Grant Morrison guy said about money. That money is an illusion. Like the elites use barred trading and barding for stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a simulacra of, right? Speaking of the Matrix, and by the way, the Edward Scissorhands, he was a humanoid, right? Created that was never finished. So wow. It goes back to and I think that movie was shot in Lakeland, Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the idea, the concept of it came out of where Magic Mountain was at SoCal, California. Yeah, it's a big art school that they would not let me into.
And that's not Space Mountain, is it? The one that you're talking about, Magic Mountain?
That's at Disneyland. That's Space Mountain. Space Mountain go hard, bro.
Some people, there's legends of people, unaliving as well there too, right? Have you heard about that? I remember
hearing about that as a kid, like all these stories. So like these mythos before the internet existed. I remember going to Disneyland and my parents saying, don't raise your hand. This kid's head got chopped off or something like that. And I heard about these stories all throughout childhood. And these childhood stories, which we should do a deep dive on, these mythos, the boogeyman.
And look at the London Bridge is falling down, bro. It's about some wicked stuff.
Don't step on a crack. I still don't step on cracks.
Neither do I.
You know what I mean? So these mythos come out through the schooling system. And this is a perfect segue into this screen share that you see these children at school that represent prison in a sense. So these kids go into these schools and they're not on the streets anymore. And this is what John Taylor Gatto talked about. He was rated number 1, New York State Teacher of the Year award. in the 90s. So he's a wicked smart guy. And he breaks down how the schooling system, they want you in public school for a long time because they want to manipulate the kids and brainwash them. And this goes even further back to when you follow the paper trail, it goes back to the Illuminati. This guy, William Wundt, created the schooling system that we have in America. And his grandfather was part of the Illuminati. So there's this connection there. He passed the schooling system down to G. Stanley Hall, who has a connection with. And then that got passed down to John Dewey. And then it got passed down to where we're at today. His like successors or whatever.
Are the Rothschilds in there somewhere, DoeNut? Because I'm pretty sure the Rothschilds are somewhere intertwined in the schooling system with like the funding of textbooks and all these corporations that make these textbooks.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I mean, it's a big power network. Mm-hmm. Of all these different families, Rockefellers, and families that we don't hear about, like Rockefellers, Rothschilds. We hear about them on purpose. There's other families that we don't hear about. So the social studies, remember that social studies class or the book Social Studies that packs in all the information, history, economics, geography, all in this book. That was deliberately created to dumb down society because you can't dive deep. We dive deep, right? We go deep, homeboy. We dive deep. In social studies, those textbooks don't dive deep because they give you just little sections of history. So you take it and then that's it. So this is one of the main tools they use to brainwash. So school is a prison. And it's set up with the bell, like Pavlov dog, which all comes out of the school that William Wundt was part of. He created it's in Leipzig. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Leipzig, Germany. And he created this whole schooling system's coming from there. And Pavlov, that was created at this Leipzig school. So there's this huge connection there. And it goes into the Prussian schooling system to make good soldiers. And that's what we're living with today. So this goes into the Darwin theory of evolution. So you don't reproduce, right? Mm-hmm. You're a dunce, go in the corner. Nobody's going to want to hang out with you because you're a clown or whatever. You know what I mean? So the kids won't want to do that. So it goes into the whole Darwin evolution type theory of control. And we see it today, how everybody is a clone today. Even the people that are the counterculture, like the punk movement, which I was a part of the punks. I was part of all these different counterculture. Yeah.
I was God.
And yeah. So like they give us this on a silver platter, but you can see that they all dress the same still. Mm-hmm. All the people at the gym, everyone dressed the same. Everybody's a freaking clone, bro. Like there's no, it's just crazy. I see that everywhere I go. And it comes to the point, I could stop for a second.
So I wanted to talk real quick because this involves the worm, bro. Right? So the Rockefeller involvement in schooling. Well, so we have the General Education Board was a private organization which was used primarily to support higher education and medical schools in the United States and to help rural white and black schools in the South, as well as modernize farming practices in the South. It helped eradicate hookworm, bro, and created the county agent system in American agriculture, linking research as state agricultural experiment stations with actual practice in the field. The board was created in 1902 after John D. Rockefeller donated an initial $1 million, equivalent to $33 million in 2022, to its cause. The Rockefeller family would eventually give over $180 million to fund the General Education Board. Prominent member Frederick Taylor Gates envision the county school of tomorrow, wherein young and old will be taught in practicable ways how to make rural life beautiful, intelligent, fruitful, recreative, healthful, and joyous. By 1934, the board was making grants of $5.5 million a year. It spent nearly all its money by 1950 and closed in 1964.
You see how it says tomorrow and we don't spell like that anymore?
Yeah, what is that?
So I did a deep dive on this for a long time because I've always thought time was an illusion, like a lot of other wicked smart thieves, I would say, because Einstein, I guess, stole all of his information. But it says to, which means like to what? Tomorrow. Well, what does morrow mean, right? And when I looked into it, it meant death, to die. So tomorrow, yeah, so there is no tomorrow, right? Because it's to die.
Death.
That's how I connected it. I don't know if, I mean, this was a long time ago.
Bro, what? So it would read the county school of to death.
Yeah, morrow means the following event or whatever when you Google it right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, things change on Google.
100%.
The meaning of it. The dictionary changes.
And
like
when I don't remember something correctly done, I just blame it on Mandela effect. So if I misremember something, it's Mandela effect, bro. CERN.
Yeah. It's all crazy. It's super nuts.
So digital friends, I want to hear about this because I told my neighbor, who is an older guy, the other day, because he's retired and he's bored and he talks to me all the time how he hates Florida and he only moved down here because of his wife's family. And I was like, yeah, I don't really hang out with too many people. All my friends are on the internet, in the computer.
I feel that. No, I feel that. So like most of my study and research comes from studying and researching myself too. And how I operate. And digital friends, I coined that term. I'm sure someone else did too. We all come up with the same ideas at the same time, but digital friends, I wrote this in my first report, the DoeNut book in 2019, before I got my channel like popular. And I was saying that we all have digital friends because of autophobia. We're scared to be alone. So when the lockdown was happening, I understood this because this was a topic I was studying, was autophobia and how hard it is to be alone and to stand for truth in a sense too. So if everybody's doing something evil, to be like, nah, I'm going to do my own thing because that's bad. So it was something I was studying so I could free myself in a sense. But now I'm just down this rabbit hole of being pissed off at everything I see. But we all have digital friends. If you don't watch television, I do, right? I love The Office. The Office, they're my digital friends. And there's the show Friends, but you had the Brady Bunch. And this is all occult symbolism in all of this. The Brady Bunch, those 9 squares, that goes into New Haven in the 9 square district, which equals 15 when you add it. And there's 15 members of the 9 seasons of The Office. In the 201 episodes, the 201 goes into symbolism as well. So there's all this symbology in these shows, like The Office, the 33rd episode's called The Initiation, where they do a ritual, where they go into a ritual in a coffin, or maybe a Freemasonic ritual, maybe. I don't know. I know does it. But we were all scared to be alone, and I knew this. So I was like, these are your digital friends in this book that we need to watch this. And I mean, I'm guilty of it because that's how I felt too, like studying today's time. But even with podcasts, like we're your digital friends right now, But I feel grateful too for this as well, because now I can listen to Ken Wheeler or the One-on-One podcast or the Tessarian or Jordan Maxwell. I can listen to wicked smart people.
Wicked smart.
And go to the gym. And listen. When in time in history was that ever possible?
That's king shit, bro.
Dude, it's king shit, dude.
That used to be back, bro. Royalty back then would have people read books to them, right?
Bro, like Aristotle, bro.
They
Like,
would have people read books to them, and they would learn as they're sitting on their throne. And now people have access to king shit, right?
and what are they watching? And what are they listening to on podcasts?
TikTok. They're watching TikTok, and they're watching
TikTok.
Adam
Serial
22
killer
drama
episodes. Adam 22 cuckold. Yeah. So that's so like this. So like even like the society that we live in is more evil, and they are part of the illusion, in my opinion. Like, so is a blanket term
Yes.
that I like to use. Is just this the elites or whatever. Well, most of society is part of the society.
Mhm.
They're part of a secret society, and they're down for death, murder, evilness, because they're who lets all this happen. And it's like the people in society allow the craziness to happen, and they promote it. If that's going to war, think about all the people that are in the armies or whatever that work for think about how many people are employed by the governments all around the world. You know what I mean? How many people work at Amazon? Someone yells at me because I want to promote a $5 a month subscription service. They're still subscribed to Netflix, Prime. They probably work for Amazon. They want someone like me or you, the little guys, the independent guys, because this was designed deliberately to do a divide and conquer of the middle class and the poor. So the poor think that the middle class are the elites and the rich. The middle class are barely getting by, and they are supporting the poor by giving them jobs. So there's this divide there in that. So people are like, kill the rich or whatever like that. That's being pushed by
Eat the rich too.
Eat the rich or what? Yeah. So that's being promoted. But no, that's actually the same team.
Yeah.
So it's the same divide and conquer strategy that goes on everywhere. So like people are.
Hold on, let me hit that up.
Tommy Truthful is calling me.
Confirmed.
Shout out to Tommy Truthful. Let me read this real quick from. We have Twilight Language by Michael Hoffman, and you touched on something that we are all part of the illusion. Name the episode.
Oh, he said that too.
So I'm gonna break down what. Let me write this down. We are the illuminati. That's fire, bro. I agree with you. So Michael Hoffman goes on to say this, and it really blew my mind when. And Michael Hoffman's an OG in this, right? He's one of those guys that has been doing this for a while. And he's written numerous books. And there's something in this book that really stood out to me, bro, that just blew my mind. And I've read it before on the right here. This book is not a how-to manual to prevent being alchemically processed by the cryptocracy. One cannot prevent a disease that has already metastasized. Neither is it a, quote, wake-up call, unquote. Since the gateway year 2001, the majority of Americans have been processed as initiates. They are, quote, Masons on site, unquote, i.e. members of the secret society without knowing. A wake-up call presupposes that people are asleep. They're only partly so. In their waking stages, they intuit that the cryptocracy in the United States engages in human sacrifice and occult processes. This thrills them, and they keenly anticipate more thrills. So they're people are wanting more, bro. They're always wanting for that next biggest thing. They're always trying to predict the end, right? Which we're guilty of that, right? But he goes on to say that that the majority have already been processed. The majority have already been initiated. And there's another part in here that really blew my mind, where he talks about history is not about the truth, but about power relations. And there's one more part that I want to read. The alchemical processing of humanity is ahead of schedule. People are becoming less human and far more numb and easily misdirected as the reign of dead matter appears on the horizon. Yikes, bro.
Yeah, we're all apathetic through this trauma. So we're all going through this ritualization of trauma to create an apathetic state and consciousness. So you try to talk to a normie, in a sense, they don't want to hear about it. Why focus on that? Why do you focus on that? Who cares? Well, that's called apathy.
So, and look what he says here. Did I just bring that up by mistake? Hold on.
That was the 15 thing I was telling you about with that square. And there's 15 members of. That's what that is right there.
Reality, facts, and truth are dispensable in the high echelons of the cryptocracy. Sorcery entails a calculus in which reality, facts, and truth are whatever the sorcerer declares them to be. So people are taking the mass media and interpreting it, and that's the truth for them. That is what it is, and you can't argue with them. And dude, I can't even tell you how many times, like, even my dad has, like, sent me something that's clearly fake AF, and he thinks it's real, like on Facebook or something, or you know what I mean. And so it's like some people, right? If I'm not there to tell my dad, yo, dad, that's fake, right? That's fake news. He'd believe it. He'd continue to believe it. And I mean, multiply that times however many people, like. So he goes.
Bro, I do video editing, video production. I went to like a little film school. Like, this is my thing. This is what I love. And the whole truth community, they are duped. There's, I mean, they put out this footage that is clearly video edited of aliens, UFOs, things of the sky, or edited out of misproportion and whatnot. This also goes with all the people are duped on YouTube thinking that these pranks, these fake fights in the hood and stuff like that is real too. That's all staged. And you can tell it's staged through the body. The body knows the camera's here. So you're going to, like a girl walking by or me walking by, I'm going to walk like this. I'm going to look like a troll turtle. I'm going to look like a turtle walking around like an idiot. You know what I mean? When the camera's not on me. Or when a girl's taking a selfie, she's going to be like, sticking the butt out and doing this and whatever. But then right after the picture in front of the Eiffel Tower or somewhere nice, drop the phone and then back to the turtle, kind of like not caring.
Banana back. That's what I call it.
Yeah. So if you watch these prank videos, everybody's walking as if they're being filmed. This chick on the airplane, her body was facing the camera because she knew she was being filmed. And then she did it perfectly like an actor. And where is she?
Keep that in mind, DoeNut. I want to read this real quick before we move on. Consumption of the knowledge and branding of Twilight language, as opposed to the study and analysis of its function as neurolinguistic programming, is an act of enthrallment, not liberation. Participants in the process situate greater knowledge of Twilight language in a continuum of thrilling jolts that are seriously impaired and dulled autonomic nervous systems like narcotic addicts who increase their dosage to obtain the same level of serenity first experienced with the ingestion of a lower dose. So he's saying here that, right, in this occult, in this truther community, and I'm guilty of this, we want the next biggest piece of information. Yeah, hit me more with that. Next, I want the next mind-blowing information. Give me some more of that. Give me some more of that. And he goes on here, many of the people stewed in morbid conspiracy theories suffer the effects of the mental contagion they imagine they are decoding. The process ends when the nervous system becomes too anesthetized and stupefied to experience further stimulation. Yikes. So, and I don't disagree with him. I agree with him. And what you were saying, DoeNut, that's part of, I don't have the book here, but
what you were saying was super deep. And this is what's happening with the alien agenda, with the nervous system.
So, before we move on to that, DoeNut, I want to address what you just said about that lady and how people act differently when they're being observed versus when they're not being observed. We know that that atoms react differently when they're being observed versus when they're not. That's the double slit experiment. We don't know why that happens. But Jean Baudrillard, in the book Simulacra and Simulation, I think that's the name of the book, right? Simulacra and Simulation, is it? Let me double check.
Yep. It is. It's in the Matrix. That's where he's hiding his stuff.
Yeah. So Simulacra and Simulation. Jean Baudrillard, he talked about the hyper reality.
Yep.
And the hyper reality is exactly what we're living in, where people would act differently. Like, look at the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't act like that if the cameras weren't on. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
they're a special group that's probably already used to that. So I'm sure that they act like that all the time because their entire life has been in a reality TV show. So I'm sure that they're already accustomed to. They're already programmed that way, right? Their DNA is like that. But for the regular person, a reality show, the reason people act that way is because they're being filmed. Therefore, it's not the real. It's a hyper real.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Yep.
hyper reality, and it's done again. Introducing the camera creates that hyper reality for these people. So it's exactly what you're getting at. That's why she's standing a certain way, looking a certain way, because she knew, maybe even subconsciously, that she was being recorded, and maybe by multiple people on that airplane. Right? I'm sure there was multiple people who were recording on that airplane. And we only got one view of it because that's the one that went viral. You know
Yeah,
what I
the
mean?
front row view. So she's in the camera is in the front row. That's where that's where I go when I'm filming. Someone hires me to film, or you're at a wedding. Where is the photographer? He's in the front of the audience to get the picture, unless they got one of them professional lenses. So the hyper reality, this hyper real of the reality TV, this is what's the billboards are watching us. We think we're watching reality TV in the Kardashians. They're actually watching us for us to imitate. So we become the hyper reality. So we are living in a hyper reality. You go out to the club, people actually start looking like Kardashians, sounding like them, talking like them. And also in sports, somebody will jump over something and no one could do it. But once someone does it, everybody can do it because of that observing in the hyper reality thing. Yeah, that book was dope. I read it.
Oh, you read it already?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's when I call the simulacrum something. Other opposing views happen too, because I call the hyper reality similar. So there's different theories on it.
And what you pulled up here, DoeNut, this, I don't know, have you heard of the breastplate of Moses?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That reminds me of that, dude.
Yeah. So the breastplate of Moses, I believe there's more. There's another row, and that goes into the telephone. That's how that's so. But this is, it is similar to that. Yeah, I've been doing a deep dive on this too, the symbolism as well. But the telephone is designed just like that. But this is the 9 squares of New Haven, tic-tac-toe. The UFO is called the tic-tac UFO. The tic-tac-toe is how New Haven, Yale, was created. And all that land was given to Yale through Lincoln and Daniel Coit Gilman, who was a member of is the 201 guy, Event 201 guys. John Hopkins, he was the first president. So there's a skull and bone connection, secret society elements in schooling, in entertainment, in media, in hospitals, hospitalers. I mean, it gets crazy.
Was Lincoln part of a secret society? Not.
Yes, Lincoln was. I can bring up an image of him doing the hidden hand. Most of the presidents were part of were Freemasons, so that's a secret society. And he does the hidden hand. And even the Civil War, according to John Taylor Gatto, and I haven't dived deep into this, but he wrote a lot of books on dumbing down America. Mm-hmm. New York #1 teacher in the 90s. He goes into how the Civil War was a hoax and it actually didn't really happen. Yeah, it's deep. It's something I'd have to research before I even start talking about it because it's a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
But that goes into the whole Lincoln thing. I've even heard Lincoln was a giant in the Lincoln Memorial where he's holding 2 fascist symbols of the fascies. His size was actually his real size and that he was actually black.
Yeah, I heard about that too, that he was.
That's pretty dope. I like that.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a land grab, sort of.
Interesting, dude.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what he was saying. I'm not smart on it or whatever, but yeah, I'm looking out for the UFO stuff.
So
Yeah. When are we releasing this? Because I'm looking out for July 20th for rituals to go down, which is just in like 3 days.
So this will be out. I can give you the exact date on when it'll be out, but it'll be out probably in a few weeks.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. But let me pull you up.
Oh, well, I mean, just these two people were abducted by the aliens after Bugs Bunny, and their name is Betty and Barney, just like the Flintstones. The Flintstones are part of a secret society. So there's this July 20th connection. July 20th is the 201 day of the year. So 201 you see in the Squid Games. July 20th, 201 day of the year. You got the Event 201 guys connected to and Daniel Coit Gilman. So I'm looking out for maybe a cyber event to happen, which is connected to the water and whatnot. But especially some UFO stuff is July 20th was the moon mission, and the bunny on the moon, Blink 182. Travis Scott is going to be performing at the pyramids, and he drops the location of the ley line that it's on. And so, I mean, they're definitely working up for some sort of UFO thing, but I think that will come right here. I bet you there'll be some bank stuff that will happen as well.
What's what's the coordinates of that? Did he say?
Yeah, it's at the Giza pyramids, but on the promotion of it, it is the Giza pyramids.
Is it really at the Giza like plateau, like in front of the pyramids, bro?
Yeah, that's what he says. And I could, I know that we're running short on time, but I could bring up, I have so many slides up. Oops, sorry. Here, I'll stop my screen.
It's so bizarre, bro. Because I just finished watching this documentary on the pyramid, on the lost pyramid on Netflix yesterday. It wasn't great, but they're going into, I forgot the guy's name, Hawass, whatever, one of the antiquities guys from what I heard, I thought he was involved in like some scandals, but it was a documentary with him, and he just talks about like finding treasures and sarcophagus and all that stuff. And it's funny that they released it, and now this is coming out too.
So yeah, his new album's being released on July 21st, just like Barbie and Oppenheimer movie. And this is the billboard, and you can see the 322 in it, the 182 in it, the 19. This is all a decoded message for Travis Scott. And yeah, I mean, it goes deep. I'll see if I have some more Travis Scott symbolism right here. Okay, so right here is the utopia. He puts down the ley line, and this is the symbol for it. I guess this will be taking place July 28th, but his album will be released.
Look at that art, bro. Zoom out. Can you zoom out on that? Look at that.
Yeah. So the symbolism is super deep. So there's the ley line that he's posting because we know rituals take place on astrological alignments on a ley line, and everyone didn't like this guy, but now he's being super promoted. At the same time, he doesn't have to go to jail for his event. But his name, Travis, you see the two X's? This is Knights Templar. He's a Knights Templar. This is the double cross. You've been double crossed.
And go back real quick to that, DoeNut. I want to bring something up because I'm looking at this and it's reminding me. Because remember, who did this guy talk to in the Cairo workings? What was he doing in the in the chamber of that pyramid? And who did he talk to? Right? It was Ayahuasca.
Really?
That was when he made contact with Ayahuasca while doing a seance with his wife in either the Queen's or King's chamber. I always get it mixed up, but he was in there. And it's funny that they're doing this freaking concert in front of the pyramid. And then if you look at the symbolism at the bottom, right, the winged disc. Well, you have the winged disc here.
Wow.
Right? And the two pillars.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really bizarre. And then these kind of look like the symbols that you pulled up earlier with the dome and with the obelisk there as well. I don't know, man. I think, right, this guy had a connection definitely to Egypt. And I just find it really interesting that they're doing that there. I mean, what a place. If it's a more energetically charged place, I've never been, but my friend just got back from Egypt from recording a documentary over there, and he's always told me that whenever they step into the pyramid, it almost feels like it's not working at full capacity, but you can feel the energy when you go inside. Like, you can feel it. It's almost like if it was some sort of energetic center of some sort, but it's just been lost to time. We don't know why it was built or how it was even built, right?
Well, what's happening this year, and what I've been looking at, as America is like the new Egypt or the new Rome, or, you know, right here, the Nile River goes into the Mississippi River, and Memphis is connected to Tennessee in this 36 ley line or whatever. So my hypothesis all through the year is that these rituals are taking place through the Memphis Rite, which was Aleister Crowley, right? Aleister Crowley was part of the Memphis Rite, bringing the sex magic, supposedly. So the Memphis Rite logo is the egg. Memphis has been going through all these rituals this year. Yeah, so 3-6 Mafia, dying at 43, Gangsta Boo at 43, during the New Year by Miley Cyrus, who was underneath this royal arch. I got so much stuff on it. Even this Isaac right here, House of Blues, Hard Rock Cafe guy, super illuminist, occultist. The Memphis Pyramid is 322 feet tall, and there's 32 stories.
And
right?
even Bass Pro Shop is involved, huh?
So yeah, Bass Pro Shop is involved, yes, but I think it's this pyramid that Bass Pro is at. So Miley Cyrus released her song 322 minutes long on YouTube. So there's this huge connection to all this, and I'm looking into it. But the Pete Davidson wears the Bass Pro Shop with Ice Spice, where they're saying they're dating. And yeah, Pete Davidson, there's a Peter Davidson. Just it goes crazy. This connection to all of them. I've been looking out for it, but for his concert to be there, I believe this is where Memphis is. So it's all coming together.
And DoeNut, to wrap it up, as of lately, I saw Ice Cube come out, and he was saying some stuff. What are your thoughts on that? What he was going on about?
He always comes out and then goes out, and then he comes out and he goes out. Look, he was programmed. I'm a big Ice Cube fan, you know. War and Peace Volume 2, I know it by heart. I'm a huge Ice Cube fan. I grew up on West Side Connection, and he's Hollywood. Like, he's rapped about, like, yo, I'm with the he comes out with these Hollywood films, and then he comes out telling the truth, then backing out of the truth, and then telling the truth. I mean, come on. It's kind of like Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes came out talking bad, and then he stopped, and then he was promoted, and then he performed in front of an eye. So Ice Cube's tight, but I don't trust anything out of Hollywood.
Do you think it's the avatars acting out when they do that, bro? Do you think it's because a lot of there's a lot of talks of cloning. You talked about the clones, and there's something about ceremonial magic and emulating the steps of ceremony because it links you sympathetic in a sympathetic magical way to something. So when they're doing all these rituals, these ceremonies, they're retracing the steps always of the ones prior to them, and you're tapping into that energy. So it really blew my mind when you showed me about the TikTok, and they all pose the same way, they all dress the same way. Well, they're mirroring each other, right? And they're stepping into that role, and you're becoming a part of that entire system by emulating the movements of the next person over. And you're saying everyone's a clone. That's crazy, bro. That blew my mind, because they always do some ceremonies on, and I forget which movie it is. I think it's the Clockwork Orange, where he taps the ball. Is it Clockwork Orange? Anyway, one of those weird movies that it's like very occultish and secret society. And he taps the ball 3 times, I think it was, and then the guy up top taps the cane 3 times or something. It's like almost like they're mirroring and echoing each other in space and time. I gotta find which movie it is. I talked to
find out what that movie is.
I talked to Narco Longo about it. I think it's let me look it up here real quick. It's either Eyes Wide Shut, the 8-ball scene, I think, or the Clockwork Orange. I think it might be Clockwork Orange. Because I always get these movies.
Because there's that song "Knock 3 Times on the Ceiling."
So the knocking 3 times is it's Clockwork Orange. Hold on, let me make sure I can pull this up. I guess there's an 8-ball scene. I've never seen this movie. Okay, I've never seen a Clockwork Orange, and I've never seen Eyes Wide Shut. I probably I probably should. Okay.
Yeah, go hard, bro.
So there is the knocking 3 times DoeNut is related to, I want to say, let me look this up because it's related to the UFO agenda as well, bro.
Yeah, so I saw Clockwork Orange when I was,
and I think it's connected to a Whitley Strieber, and it's supposedly when you hear a knock 3 times, it means that there's a presence that is in the area. So let me see here, the communal. It was something because when L. Ron Hubbard and Parsons were doing the rituals, the Babylon working ritual, trying to summon the Scarlet, right, the whore of Babylon, they were having paranormal activity. And one of the things that he documented was this knocking of 3 times. And when you knock 3 times, it's indicative of a presence, of a spiritual presence that there is. And then they got the light knocked over and all this other stuff. And I mean, right, the hermit has the lantern. Their lantern was knocked over. So it's all symbolic, but it's linked to this UFO agenda because I think it's the communion or something like that was linked to the paranormal experiences.
Yeah, I've been linking a lot of stuff, our everyday things, right? How many times we knock on the door? 7 times. Like, who created that? Knock, 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 right? That's how like people knock, right? Yeah. But that 7 is 7 days a week. There's 7, all this. But even Mario, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. That's 7. Like, so there's this like sort of some like, I don't know what it is. I'm looking into all this stuff.
It's all good, bro. I mean,
we will figure it out one day.
We're going to figure it out one day, I think.
Or we won't.
Or yeah, we might not. So, and that's what I tell people, that this is always a ongoing investigation, this research that we're doing. We're constantly doing more and more research, and that's just how it goes. Like the homunculus stuff, it's not that it's at the point where it pops up in my research and I'm not even looking for it. Like boom, like Willy Wonka and the chocolate. Who would have thought? It looks like it, right? It looks like a homunculus. Is it a homunculus? I don't know. I guess we're gonna have
that
to
was
find
a homunculus.
out.
Yeah, that was for
bro,
sure.
I mean, you could interpret it that. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could interpret it.
All the movies, they're just copying off of old art paintings. Like there's tons of movies, like the alien going into the girl's ear. Yeah. That's an old painting. Like all these old paintings are reused. Something with the genetics of our ancestors.
Yeah. No, and again, yeah, and that last stuff about the Parsons, I talked about it on my Jack Parsons episode. Episode like 74 or something like that, like a long time ago. Let me see here what episode it was. It was episode 85 where I talk about Parsons. And yeah, they wrote down because L. Ron Hubbard was the scribe, and there's something about that knocking, bro, to bring it full circle with the alien agenda. Right, when you knock 3 times, something's in the area. So, and then you have Parsons, NASA, right back to that beginning, the NASA connection, L. Ron Hubbard, and supposedly Xenu and all that stuff that they worship, like this weird. And then I don't know if you saw the newest Bird Box movie, bro. Did you check it out? It's really dark, but right. Speaking of the Scientology, where they're like light bodies, it's got to do with that too, bro. So I think that might be worth it. It's in Spanish, so it's Barcelona, but I know Spanish, so I can watch it. But I don't know, dude. I think you should just watch it and just pay attention to the symbolism.
Okay, I can watch it with captions.
Yeah, dude. So DoeNut killed it, bro.
DoeNut. Thank you. You can find me at DOE-NUT.com, DoeNut, and look out for content. I got a documentary coming out with the one-on-one podcast on the worms. I thought you were going to hit a button because I saw you go for your drink, but I thought you were going to hit a button.
Wait, damn, I just hit like 3 buttons at the same time.
Illuminati confirmed.
So if you guys want to catch more of me and DoeNut, there's plenty of episodes him and I have done on the Patreon. Make sure to subscribe to both our Patreons. DoeNut puts out really good stuff and support the cause. You know what I mean? Help us out. And
yeah, you put out the greatest stuff though. Like, I mean, your research is awesome. I'm always excited whenever I get to talk to you.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, and keep an eye out for Naughty Worms documentary coming out very soon. That's gonna be a banger. I don't know.
It's gonna be a banger, bro. It's
3
so
for 3,
good.
maybe viral, bro. I don't know. Three videos.
Usually the bangers aren't viral.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm not like.
It's the watered down stuff, bro.
It's when we talk about Kim Kardashian or Kanye or something, that will go viral. But the wicked smart stuff doesn't. But it doesn't matter though, because the true fans who want to learn and like research and into art too as well, like they will like it. It's like, it's real good stuff.
And make sure to subscribe to DoeNut's YouTube channel. That's DoeNut Factory on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, Juan on Juan Podcast. And yeah, as always, everyone, see you on the other side. This was great, DoeNut. Thank you so much, bro. Had a lot of fun shedding the light on Los Alumbrados. So, catch you on the other one, guys.